Well, so we worked on we did the spoof video, and the kids were very excited about it, and I'll send you a couple of them. For some reason, they think that bad audience behavior is throwing things at the speaker. I'm not sure why, but anyway, but
You never know.
They always take it to a new level.
we got all the fart sounds on their apps, and we got, just all sorts of things. But so the winning team gets a pizza party.
Oh,
So winning group. So it was eighth hour. It wasn't what everybody expected, but the teacher who chose said that they exhibited um, more types of poor behavior for the audience and the speaker. So, and the
oh,
speaker gave more of a serious speech, but the wrong type of skills. So anyway, yeah, so they had fun with that, and we didn't have to make a list of what not to do because now they get it. So
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah,
Good.
that's great. Well, I would love for a follow up, like maybe reflection on one of our later videos a month from now.
huh?
If you have to do any coaching on that behavior, if that one activity alone
Oh,
fixed it,
sure,
I'd be curious
sure.
to hear. So,
And the interesting thing is, they had to lead it, and so the class that's usually the worst, they were the best with leading and just taking charge. So that was nice. So that was very good. So they'll have to do more of that because they don't want to hear me. So.
novel concept. That's very cool. Yeah.
So anyway, we did that, and then we've been working on some grammar activities and trying to get ready for the viewing of the movie and then the writing the paper. So we were doing this confusing pairs. I don't know if you can see it. Confusing pairs.
Hold it still for just a minute, real still. There we go. Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So there's some easy ones like which and weather and weather,
Huh?
but there are some difficult ones like um,
I
Yeah.
saw ordinance and ordinance. I was like,
And
oh,
EHOP. Yeah.
ordnance. I had to look it up because when do I ever use ordnance? So never.
me too.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
But anyway, so I had a couple kids said, "Well, Miss Palmer, we already know these, so why are we doing this? This is too easy." Well, see, those are a couple of the kids that moved from honors because they didn't make the grade cutoff, and now so they're in my class. But funny enough, they still didn't get them all. So they're still they didn't volunteer when I asked the class, "What does ordnance mean?" That student didn't even volunteer, so he didn't know. And then we're doing something with verb tense because I'm trying to, when one thing, as the college kids do this too, but they switch tense all the time, but they don't even realize they're doing it. And so we're identifying tense. And so the kids who thought it was easy, I was kind of watching because we did it through no red ink. And so you could see how many attempts, and the kids, I could watch because there were a couple kids who went straight to the tutorial. So obviously, the one child had no idea what he was doing. So I went over, talked to him, and I said, if it's in the future, you're always going to see Will so, for this exercise. So that'll make it easy. And oh, I didn't know that. So
That's good.
this
That's
was
good. That
explained
makes
to assess. So I guess, making this, and then they have to write some sentences. They have to use the words this week. It was a homework and from yesterday actually, and so they have to choose 15 words from the list, and they have to be different. And then they have to write 5 sentences in the present, 5 in the past, 5 in the future, and so that way they're practicing the words and the tense. So we'll see how
so I
that.
assume there's some differentiation for some that wouldn't do 15, they might do 10, or how are you dealing with that?
Yes, well, I kind of, the differentiation, I think they can do the 15, and I talked to TJ, he thought so. For our class together, they can use whatever words I want. For the other classes, especially those who I have who transferred in from the honors, I expect them to use the difficult words.
Sure.
Because some of these are really pretty easy, like the weather and weather, and and the where and where. So I think, hopefully they can do that because it's not that much. Um, but we'll see. And if they need to write fewer, then that's fine too. So
So question, so that's interesting on the differentiation on both the top and the bottom. I'm glad to hear that. At the top end, is there any accountability for me to do harder ones?
um, such as more points or more. Well, I did tell them. I said if you don't choose, I said I expect for some of the other classes, I expect you to pick some. You can't just pick the easiest because I'll take points off. So I told them that.
But I
So
wonder if you actually have them like could you tier those words and say they have to have so many in each tier?
That's a good idea. I could do that. Yeah, that would make
So
sense. For the next,
these are the tier 3 words, and you have to have 5 tier 3s or whatever.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I just know a really smart kid is smart enough to do the easy ones.
Oh, well, yeah, why wouldn't you? Exactly. That's a good idea because we're going to continue with the confusing pairs because what I liked about this list is they mispronounce them all the time. Like we had immigrant and emigrant, and I couldn't tell you which one's which because I barely hear it myself when we listen, because we did on dictionary.com, so it's fine. As long as you use the right one.
Right. It's
And
the
you're
spelling
right.
that makes the
But
difference.
the hearing, some of them, I don't know, you just couldn't hear it. But anyway, we did this exercise because of the public speaking too, and how, telling if you pronounce corps as corpse, that's a different word instead of core. So that's why I thought it was a good exercise. So anyway, we're doing some of that to get ready for the writing. And I thought for tense, I would write a paragraph and put them all in different tenses, and then they have to go and I would make it in the past tense, but then I'll mess it up on purpose and have so many that are in different tenses. So they'll have to switch them. Does that sound good?
So you're going to write some, and then they have to switch them. Can you, instead of switch them,
Try
could
them
they
at least. At least identify them.
say that one more time? I'm sorry.
Oh, at least identify them.
Right, identify where the problem is. Yeah. Interesting. I'm wondering about differentiating that a little bit. I'm trying to think of how to use their work instead of your work.
So maybe the really high level kids could actually write it.
And then change the tense.
And
You
they
check it and say it's, yeah, they have like 4 of them have to agree that paper is perfect in its tense, and then they have to mess it up, and all the classes get their work.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. That would be good.
That way, then it's their authentic writing, and it's you doing A, less work, and B, them really thinking about tense.
That would be good. Because I have at least 4 or 5 in each group that could do that. So
Okay, yeah. So and then you say, and have them write something, challenge each of them to write something in a genre that you worry they're not very good at writing in.
Okay, that's good.
So, I'm going to do a fiction story. I'm going to do, a factual statement, whatever. And then challenge them to make it fun for their peers to read.
Okay.
So then you'll get some humor, you'll get some laughter, and you'll get the tense in there.
Right.
So what's, how to sneakily text in class, or, give them those kinds of topics. How to fart sitting next to your girlfriend and blame it on somebody else. Whatever could be something that would engage the kids to read it, but then also to work on the tense. But I think they'll read it more if they think it's from their peers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. There'll be more buy-in for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They'll get it and go, I want to read it for no other reason because it's from,
Yeah,
exactly. And then so-and-so will be intrigued to write a better statement too.
And I don't know, maybe I could put, have 3 upper level and then include one that's really low in the writing of it too, because just because they're low doesn't mean they don't have good ideas.
Right, that's what I'm thinking too. And you might, and again, if you have them keyboarded or whatever, then it really doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think that's a great idea. So 3 high and 1 low. I think that's a great way to do it. And they all agree these are the 4 sample paragraphs their class should try to edit.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we're going to do some more writing type of exercises before we watch the movie and write the paper. So.
And the POWtree, you guys have worked out the POWtree part?
Did you get the email that I sent you yesterday, Lisa?
I did. So I'll look through that. Maybe we can talk about it next week. So that would be
great. And I think I sent you a second one with a graphic organizer that looks a little more high schoolish than.
Oh, okay. I'll look for that.
Yeah, and if you don't have it, I'll shoot it to you again today. But I made one that looks a little more high schoolish than the one with the tree and all of that, because I think that kind of looks a little more elementary. And I think that if you use the one that looks more for older kids, I think that they'll have a little more buy-in to it. And
that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. So anyway, that's what we're working on is just the writing and the doing the different exercises. So.
Well, I know you have to go here in just a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one last question. With TJ, where is he leading any lessons this next week?
You know what? I'll make sure I put him in charge of at least one next week. We'll talk about it, and I'll make sure it's one he feels, comfortable with. So.
Okay, great. So the goal is then next week for him to lead one, and then when he comes to planning next time, why don't we have him talk about what he would lead the week after?
Okay, that sounds good.
That way we're starting to get him in more of that leadership role. Okay, I know you got to go. Your kids think you're talking to strangers. Have a good day.
Bye.